What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We are only a couple of weeks away from the Autumn Nations Cup, and I thought it'd be interesting to do a quick video because it's a little up in the air about how the actual cup's going to work. It's the first time it's ever happened, all the nations coming together, so this video is going to be a bit of a breakdown of how the tournament works for all you guys that aren't 100% sure how they're going to go about it, who's going to be the deciders, who's going to be the winner. We're going to break down some of the teams and how it all works. Let's jump into it. So for people who haven't been keeping along with it, the Autumn Nations Cup is coming up, which is going to consist of the main Six Nations teams. That is going to be England, Ireland, Wales, France, Scotland and Italy. But they're going to be joined by two additional teams of that in Georgia and Fiji. These 8 teams together are going to be making up this Autumn Nations Cup. They did originally have Japan and South Africa. They've gone now, so we're down to the 8 teams. So these 8 teams are going to be broken down into 2 lots of 4. So England, Ireland, Wales and Georgia are going to be in Conference A. And France, Scotland, Italy and Fiji are going to be in Conference B. So the way these conferences are going to work is each team in that conference is going to play the other 3 teams. So in total, every team will have played 3 games. And then they'll be ordered in their own table within their conference from 1st, 2nd, 3rd or 4th. This isn't, of course, the ending result. This table is just one I managed to find on the internet. I'm sure it won't end like this as the final result. And the way it'll work from here is that you'll have a 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th for Group A and a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th for Group B. So the way they're going to be deciding who's actually going to be winning this tournament will be the winner of Group A will be playing the winner of Group B. On this table, for example, this would be Wales, France. I'm sure it probably won't be that by the time this tournament is over. So those 2 top teams will play each other, and that will be for 1st and 2nd place within the tournament. 2nd place in Group A will then play 2nd place in Group B. They will play for 3rd and 4th position in the tournament, and so on and so forth as you get further down the list. And that'll be the decider of how the table's going to win. I'm really looking forward to this Autumn Nations Cup. I have had a quick look at the teams. To be honest, I see France absolutely dominating the Conference B. I don't see them losing to Italy or Fiji anytime soon. Obviously, they did lose to Scotland in the Six Nations that we just had, but I'm sure they won't want to be repeating that again. Scotland will be fighting pretty hard, but I can see France winning that given how good their performance was against Ireland in that final weekend of the Six Nations. And for Group A, I think it's going to be between England and Ireland in order to get the top of that. I think Wales just off par with where they want to be playing at the minute. They might be able to win a game against Ireland, but I think they're just behind a little bit too much at the meantime to play England, who've just come off of winning the Six Nations. I think top of Group A will be between England and Ireland, but I've checked out some of the rounds where we get onto them in a second, and England and Ireland will actually be playing each other in Twickenham. I know there's not too much of a home advantage with no crowds available, but I can see England winning that and then taking on France potentially for that 1st and 2nd spot. So we'll just quickly have a look at some of the rounds we've got coming up for you guys. So round 1 we're going to be kicking off. That's Friday the 13th, which is unlucky for some. Hopefully not for Wales, but who knows. So we've got Ireland and Wales are going to be kicking it off. And then on the Saturday we're going to be having Italy versus Scotland, which should be a really good game. I'm expecting Scotland will probably take that one. England versus Georgia, which England should be absolutely trying to run away with that one. And then France versus Fiji, which I'm really looking forward to see how Fiji can come back. Obviously they didn't have the World Cup they wanted, but they could have the potential to have some good games. Round 2, Italy are going to be taking on Fiji. Another big game. I've got a real big feeling that Fiji might be able to pull a win out of there. I think that'll be a real good boost for them. Hopefully they'll be able to do a lot. That Saturday is going to be awesome. That's the first of 3 games going on. We've got England versus Ireland. That for me is going to be the game of their conference. I think that'll be the one who decides who comes first. Wales versus Georgia, which Wales should definitely be trying to look for a win there. Depending on how many wins they get, they should be trying to win that game more than any. And then on the Sunday we have France versus Scotland, the repeat of the Six Nations, to see whether or not Scotland could actually beat France again, but I would be picking France for the winners there. And then round 3, the final game of the conferences. Scotland are going to be playing Fiji, which I think will be quite a fun game to watch actually. That'll be quite a high-paced, high-intensity game. Wales versus England, which could just be the most brutal game or the most enjoyable game for me as a Welsh rugby fan, but we don't know how that will go. That's not actually been decided where it's going to be played. The Principality Stadium is still a hospital at the minute, so I would be more likely that it would probably be played in Twickenham as well, seeing as that's where England are going to be playing Ireland, but there's every chance they might go down to Parky Scarlets for that one. France are going to play Italy. France should be looking for a win there, and then Ireland versus Georgia will round that off on the Sunday. Again, I think that'll be another Ireland win. Georgia weren't looking too threatening when they played Scotland the other week. I think Ireland win that one. And then we come finally onto the final round. So as you can see, all the teams that were in Conference A are on the left-hand side here, and then depending where they finish in their conference will be the final verdict of who they will play from Conference B in those matches. However, the first teams will definitely be playing on those set days. Of course, they've left England to the final day, so you get to have the big game at the end. I think the final will be probably between England and France, having looked at the teams. So they've left that till last. It's going to be played in Twickenham. England are going to have the home advantage. I would not be surprised if England managed to beat France there, but France are playing very well, very in form. So I'm thinking there's a good chance they could come out fighting for that one, but we'll have to see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to this Autumn Nations, guys. If you haven't seen on the channel, we do some videos of game previews where I chuck a game of rugby on in the background and then I talk about the teams that are going on, having a look at some of the lineups that are going to be playing while I play a game of rugby in the background and my predictions on how I think that game's going to go. We've actually had some pretty near predictions, to be honest. In the final couple of weeks of these Six Nations that we've had, I've actually got quite a few of the scores within about 2 or 3 points. I've been quite proud of myself. But if you guys want to check out any of that rugby footage or anything, go back and check out those videos. I'm going to be trying to do a similar thing. We're doing some reviews of some of the games coming up. There's obviously going to be 4 games in a weekend. It might be a little bit difficult for me to try and push it out. You might have some of the videos staggered throughout the weekend. But if that sounds like something you'll enjoy, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel just to keep up to date with all the rugby content as I've got it coming out. If you've enjoyed this video, if you found it informative, you found it useful, you now understand a little bit more how the Autumn Nations Cup is going to go, please drop the video a like, as it does really help the channel and I enjoy making these rugby videos so much, but they do take a lot of time just because of the background graphics that I have to make for them. I hope you've all enjoyed this video, guys. I will see you next time. Bye bye.